So I wanted to talk to you about using escape rooms for assessment. And in particular, the academics amongst you will know that one of the things universities are being measured on at the moment is, or in future, is how many graduates actually go into a graduate level job. So not just a job, but a graduate level job. And in the business school, they decided that they would like to run an assessment centre, because a lot of business graduates would go out into places like Ford Motor Company, Virgin, really big companies that run assessment centres. So we wanted to run a day where they would experience an assessment centre. We actually went off-site, this is Hinsley Hall down in town, and we asked them to dress up as they would for an interview. The headline results, so we got 100% attendance on the day, and 100% of the students passed the module. Some of the quotes we had: such a great day, really enjoyed being involved. Although I'm not a lecturer, the students in my groups all said how useful and interesting they found the day. They liked that it was off-site, the formal dress code made it feel more real, and they all said they would feel more confident in a situation like that in future now that they've had experience of it. So that was one of the staff assessors. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we did the day. Oh, here's some more feedback from students. It was really fun. We're getting the impression that this sort of thing is really fun. The aim of the event was we wanted the programme to replicate the reality of preparing students for a graduate level work experience, an actual assessment day, and so we wanted this external off-campus venue. Students were put into teams. They couldn't choose who that they were with, and in fact the way Dr. Emma Roberts arranged all of that, with the students who were the serial non-attenders were spread out across the groups, so each group would have the equivalent number of people, but all the serial non-attenders turned up. We had 100% attendance. We had 6 employers recruited by the placements team, and they provided business challenges that were going to be given to these groups, and they could all be delivered over a 3-hour period and then presented on at the end of the day. And these representatives from the business came back at the end of the day to for 2 hours to actually listen to what the students had to say about their real business problems. And we started the day, my role was an escape room icebreaker, which was then followed immediately by the challenges being set. So these students are all arriving, and the first thing they're doing after tea and coffee is going into a room which has been set up. I've got a picture of it, I'll show you later. They're going into a room and they're going straight into the escape room mode. So they're going to a room much like this. It was the case of the Rocket Man, which you've all solved this morning. This is what that game was written for. So this was the criterion on the day. So we were looking for professional participation. I always say professionalism begins with a pen. So who are the people that are taking notes? Who are the people that are getting ready and rolling their sleeves up? The second criteria was teamwork, and the third one was leadership. So these were the things that the assessors were looking for, and there was one assessor who stayed with each team throughout the day. And then the assessment centre scorecard actually had room for peer observations as well. And immediately after the escape game, the students were asked by the assessor, what went well there, who did what really well. And then the assessors wrote down the peer feedback that the students were getting from each other, and this became part of their scorecard. You can see also off the end, the employers gave feedback as well. They also did a piece of self-reflection. This is a reverse of the card. And then the assessor gave them a rating and feedback against the criteria I showed you earlier. So professional participation, teamwork, and then leadership. And then what we did was we actually ran away, photocopied these at the end of the day, and then gave them to the students. They had a permanent reminder, including, importantly, that peer feedback, what other students had said about them as a result of the escape game at the start of the day. So the outcomes against that scorecard that I just showed you, obviously you can see everybody passed, and we also got several A pluses and A's and B's. So really a very productive day. And then we did a quiz at the end, a little survey at the end to ask people what they thought. Did they think it was great for their personal development, for preparing for placement, for identifying what they needed to develop to qualify for a graduate scheme. The idea was that the students would come forward and say, actually, I want more of this. I feel I'm up to this. I feel I'm up to this challenge. I want to actually go and put me forward for these graduate assessment centres. Yeah, now I know what they are, I want to go for these big jobs. And then we also did a separate one on the puzzle box activity, so you can see that everybody thought that it was good for getting to know new teammates and were neutral about it. Getting a problem-solving frame of mind, everybody thought that that was the case, and also most of them thought it was fun. 3 of them were just meh about it, but you know, you can't please everyone all of the time. So feedback, bearing in mind the employer challenge was most of the day, the puzzle box activity was a half hour. I was really pleased that some of them did say that it was the highlight of the day, but it shows how engaged they were with it, that they thought so highly of it. And then the student feedback, so they really enjoyed it. They feel like they've benefited from today. They got to work with new people. It was fun and exciting. An excellent preparation for placement, yeah, and should have the employer challenges with people who are offering placements. The student is thinking, this is an opportunity for me to see my future employer and network and impress them at this stage in my career, which is level 5. It was in November of second year. They really enjoyed it. They would definitely do it again. Overall, much better than any workshop I have done. Really helped with my career. Excellent idea, very engaging. So again, we're hearing this a lot, that the students really, really love doing it. But what I found it interesting about this was the assessor feedback, that they saw that the students got lots out of it, working with people they didn't know, working as a team, working under pressure into a real life brief. They saw the value and realised what it was about. Also, they acted as though they were being assessed and kept it up all day. The icebreaker was very effective. It was engaging and fun and competitive, and that revealed their true selves. My favourite quote isn't on here because it was a verbal quote, not a written quote, but it was from a chartered psychologist, so I think it's an important one. And he said it was the best team building activity he'd ever seen. That was the escape room box at the start, which was the one that you did earlier, because it just gets the students immediately. What I observed was that we saw it today, they get in the flow, they get in the flow of the game, there's no fakery, there's no dissembling, there's nobody trying to impress everybody. Everybody is just doing what they do to the best of their ability, and I think that's what I like about it. The employer challenges, so they really liked it. So this particular company said it was the second employer challenge they'd attended. The quality of the presentation significantly improved. The students were bright, intelligent and engaging, and I'm proud to say that the Now Temp group will continue to support the university in the future with this part of the course. So we invited these employers along, you know, and talked about escape rooms and an assessment day, and the results were something that they now say they're proud to be part of. And I'd just like to end on that one, which just is all you need to know, really. Does anybody have any questions?
The criteria that you put up, was that something that pre-existed, or was this written specifically for
We
this?
specifically wrote it for this. So we have sort of a standard assessment matrix that we use at the university, but for individual tasks you can change it. And this was, I'm very happy to share it. This was, not mine, I'll have to ask Dr. Roberts, but I'm sure she'd be happy to share it. Yeah, so it was really so that they could as well tick the box. They could see some leadership behaviour, and so all of the assessors were looking for good examples of these criteria.
So the pass rate that you mentioned at the end, that's based on this?
Yes.
I'm just trying to think if somebody wanted to put it on a CV or a job application, or bring it up, what status it has, as it were. So it's
Well, it was one of their modules, so it's 50% of their coursework for one module was to attend this day and to complete the employer challenge.
I see.
So they still had another 50% of their work to do for that module, and they do 6 modules a year.
And I'm sorry, I might have missed. What course was that?
This was a business course.
Okay.
Well, it was actually the whole of the second year business school. So it was business and marketing, business. I don't know the other 2. There was 5 programs in total. All of our ones with business in the title. Yes.
I wondered, Liz, well, I could ask you and sorry, your colleague.
Rebecca.
Rebecca, no, I've already got. I'm sort of thinking lots of thoughts here. I work on an MA programme in education, and probably at any one time half of our students are from abroad, some European, but also Far East, Thailand, Bangladesh and so on. And we do a lot of work on thinking skills, which raise one of the issues is sort of expectations and cultural expectations. Were any of the students, and I think this is really exciting as a sort of possible activity, were any of the students that you worked with from overseas
Yes.
backgrounds, what are the cultural issues that come out then? Because they come out even if you're looking at picture books.
They find that I speak too fast.
Okay.
It's one. I'm not sure if any cultural issues actually came out in the day. I thought I got a picture up here that would have shown you sort of the spread of the demographic. Do you have any cultural issues with the journalism ones?
Just thinking about not problems, but expectations and how they have an impact on people's willingness, ability to participate with it.
There was probably only one student in our group that was from overseas. I think she's from the UEA, maybe.
Right.
Her English is very good. So she was contributed quite greatly to the game when I was observing. I think if I had several students that had come from different backgrounds, it would have probably been something that I would have had to have considered more probably. But actually, the majority of students that took part were English speaking, and it wasn't really, communication I suppose side of things wasn't necessarily an issue. And it probably wasn't something that I considered much, but it probably does need to be considered depending on your group of people that you're working with. There was diversity in other senses within our group, so obviously that had to be taken into consideration.
Yeah, we
If you
find
got
students
things like-
with learning difficulties often
Yeah.
sort of dive in and shine in this sort of thing. Some of the quieter ones are the ones that don't thrive in the normal 9 to 5 sort of classroom, but do thrive in these situations. Yes, David?
Yes, so I'm just wondering about using this as a selection process for getting people onto courses and things, which might actually appeal to those who aren't necessarily good at getting high academic grades at school, but may actually have a lot to bring to a university.
I think that's where the puzzle design comes in, choosing the types of puzzles really carefully and thinking hard about what you want to achieve. I mean, the ones that we had here, I think those of you, I think you've all had a play, they were all trying to be different types of puzzle to test different things and allow different people to have, to shine if they had different skills.
And I think one of the real strengths is the group work as well, because you can have academically very bright people who aren't very good at working in a team.
Yes.
And so it's a chance to actually see whether people are going to work with
Yeah.
other fellows.
We're doing some work with a company that's using, we've just put a bid in for some funding to do some research around using escape rooms and immersive scenarios as recruitment. We had some experiments last summer where I was involved in running Codex with some students down at Leeds Dock, which was a commercial game, and we had a recruitment company come in and use that with some students, and we're hoping to continue that work. What we found interesting was you always get the person who goes straight to the directional padlock and just has a go at it, and then goes straight to another padlock and just has a go at it. And sometimes you find people solving it in very odd ways, which is very instructive and insightful into their thought process. Even if they don't solve something, the fact that they've thought of 10 different ways of not solving it, a bit like Edison and his light bulb, actually sheds a lot of light. Didn't mean that, good pun. Yeah, sheds a lot of light on who they are and how they'll behave. Even if they don't solve it, it's their approach to it that you can see really clearly.
Sorry, just going back to the schedule of the day, broke down what people did in different times.
Sorry, which was that one?
So it mentioned that the kind of start, middle, and end of the day, what they actually did.
Oh right, okay. They did this one.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
So would you say it's fair to say that the escape room and the if you like subject knowledge of business stuff was kept separate?
Very definitely. The escape room was there to help them get to know their teams, because it was 5 programs coming together. So they might have had lectures with some of them, but it was a big group. So they didn't know each other. So it was a bit of a team building activity.
Sure.
It was an icebreaker activity, and it was to get their brains working. So they went straight into the employer challenge, with their brains ticking over. And if any lecturers here have ever taught a 9 o'clock lecture, that doesn't happen very often. So that's what it was about, really.
Sure. Did you play the Apprentice music while you were?
No, we didn't. We had a big countdown timer though. It was good.